This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
No. Y'all,
This
just
is
stop.
a sham.
It's finally here. Drum roll.
Welcome to DBL. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Look who's down there. Stephanie.
Hi.
Hello, Stephanie.
Hello.
How you feeling? You could add a little bit more down there. We haven't seen you in a while.
She's easing in.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, it's Wednesday, we're chilling.
Al, that's a
I
sharp
know, I
green
love the
suit,
green.
buddy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, my kids got this for me for my birthday last year. So got it, yeah. So I think about it every time I wear it. So,
Go Packers.
I like the
Beautiful.
flower.
yes, go Packers, and I've been told I look like a military dictator. So listen to what I say today.
You got it. You got it. All right, well, Al, I want your opinion on this next one. Tom Cruise is about to go where no actor has gone before. During an interview with the BBC, the head of Universal Pictures says there are plans to have Tom Cruise become the first civilian to do a spacewalk outside the International Space Station for his next film. Tom is no stranger to crazy stunts. He was recently filmed standing on the wing of a plane. We all saw this for the new Mission Impossible movie, which is crazy, but he's actually going to do the spacewalk, kind of like that you see in Gravity, where he's tethered and you go outside and just kind of float around. That's pretty wild.
It's something, Eric. I don't know what you guys think. I've said it for a long time, Steph, and I never compare any. He is the Kobe of acting. He is, and I don't throw that around. Tom Cruise is the only person whose only mission, no pun intended, is to make sure that the audience it gets their money's worth. And remember we did that story about him yelling at that guy on set during COVID? That's how serious he takes it. He's a multimillionaire. He could have gone back to his trailer and be like, all right, we'll shoot in 4 weeks. But he's so passionate and stuff, and it comes out in his movies, and they're always successful. He does his press. He's ready to go. He always looks great. Shout out to Tom.
I think he's going to literally kill it. If anyone can do it on this planet, it is Tom Cruise. He can fly helicopters. He flew the fighter pilot jets in Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
He learned. He's got his pilot's license. Yeah, he did all that himself.
The helicopter ones, yeah.
Yeah, and also he's already filmed with no gravity, and it took him 64 takes, and no one wanted to do it. They all wanted him to do it on CGI, and he was like, no, I'm going to master this in The Mummy, which was a bit of a flop. But when he took over from our next person that we're talking about, Brendan, but it's I think he's incredible, and I think if anyone can do it, it's definitely going to be him, and it will outsell, I bet, every Mission Impossible that there's ever been.
I can see that.
I don't know about that. That's a pretty big franchise.
It's
a pretty big franchise.
If Street starts talking and saying you got to see that spacewalk, people are going to watch it. Yeah.
The streets, they be talking.
Are you a Tom Cruise fan, Erica?
I'm not a Tom Cruise fan.
Gotcha.
I just don't. I don't necessarily think about Tom Cruise.
Really?
Sounds like a huge fan.
Well, no, it's just he's not exactly on my list of people.
If I say name, like we're playing a game, I say name the top 3 biggest movie stars. Would Tom Cruise be on that list?
No.
Wow.
No.
Not even a spacewalk is turning Erica.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
I mean, he's obviously. I'm not shading Tom Cruise. Obviously, he's an amazing actor. It's just that I think that the genres that I go towards aren't necessarily Tom Cruise genres.
Not even a spacewalk.
Yeah.
All right. Sounding a little shady. All right. Speaking of The Mummy, like Stephanie said, Brendan Fraser got another standing ovation for his new movie, The Whale. So Brendan was moved to tears as people took to their feet at a London Film Festival for a 5-minute standing ovation. Brendan also got emotional when he received a standing ovation in Venice. Okay. So you were saying you're not that. Listen, I like Brendan Fraser. 2 5-minute standing ovations. How good is this?
Oh, stop it!
Come on, it's no spacewalk.
This is something totally different.
The comeback queen.
Yeah, this is all about the comeback.
I think people are just. Yas for yazzing.
No one yassed. It was a standing ovation. I think when someone is really in their moment, they are absolutely untouchable. And I think Brendan Fraser right now is in his moment, and it was a moment that was so well earned and hard earned because obviously we know his story. We obviously know that he went through not just a small season of a hard time. He went through what seemingly would feel like a lot of people a lifetime of a hard time.
The bulk of his career.
Exactly. And all of the tragedy and scandal that rocked his world. So for him to be receiving his accolades in this way, I think people are just really saying, not only did you come back, but you came back stronger and more impactful than ever.
And I totally agree with that. I like Brendan Fraser. He did go through a lot, and I am a big fan. But are people cheering Al for his performance or for what he went through as an actor?
I think it can be both. both, and this is why I say that stuff. When I look at Brendan Fraser, as somebody that's been in entertainment almost 20 years, which is crazy to say, you know, if there was something that made me step away from stand-up for 20 years, I know myself and how most human beings are wired. You have to detox yourself from that, because when he came on, he was a hot heartthrob, and you're the most famous person in the world, and now you're persona non grata. So you have to divest yourself of all your former personality. So for him to come back, to risk touching those wounds again, and then to put on this performance and do it in a polar opposite body.
Exactly.
That's what really got me, Steph. That's why, like, the first time we ran that clip a couple of months ago, or a week ago, it really it choked me up, because you could tell that he was being vulnerable to that moment, because he probably told himself it's never going to happen.
And I think it's his kudos as well to his acting. Like you said, is it his story?
Yeah.
Is it the movie? Well, I think it's a kudos to both. One, like you said, he was one of the biggest heartthrobs. He was in multi-million best-selling movies like The Mummy. Even Tom Cruise tried to like take that on when they didn't pick Brandon for the next show, and it flopped. And now there's talks of him maybe coming back to reboot that, which would be fantastic.
That would be big.
And kudos to him. It shows this is a completely different character than anything we've ever seen him play before. So I think it's a testament to him and how much people love him, and how much, like Erica says, anyone who's deserving, you say, that works hard for a comeback deserves it. He clearly does. And it's lovely to see people are behind him.
Well, I know with those answers, I mean, he's sure win for the Oscar, right? Because if everyone's behind him personally and the film doesn't really matter, I mean, he's won already, right?
No.
What do you mean no? I'll call it right now. He's going to win an Oscar, because if you have both your personal life set up where you're a hero to some people, or you're making that comeback, which he deserves, and the performance really isn't an issue, he's got that in the bag.
Well,
already.
I mean, the performance still has to be great,
Yeah.
which I'm assuming, based on that standing ovation, the performance is great. Because we've seen people try to come back and they don't necessarily reach the standard that it takes for people to forget why they left or to remember them again. So if he does get nominated, I absolutely believe that, yes, he does stand a chance, because it's voted on by the Academy, and that's how, if people are feeling this way within the peer group, it's a possibility.
Yeah. All right. We'll be waiting, just like I'm waiting. Okay, here we go. The controversial Jeffrey Dahmer series is now the second most watched English show on Netflix ever. So Dahmer overtook both seasons of Bridgerton with 700 million hours watched. The show has been criticized for re-traumatizing victims and families, and their families, I should say. Some were depicted in the series, but never even told this series was going to be made. Now look, I've been vocal about this on the show before. Every series on Netflix is about this, that, and the other thing, about murders, and I don't think it's what we should be watching. I've watched this whole series. I did. And I watched, and I got to tell you, one night I woke up in the middle of the night because it was the last thing I watched. It's disturbing. I can't even imagine how disturbing it is for the families or the victims. It's just a time where I grew up. I remember like the Dahmer thing when I was young, and Jordan didn't really know, so we kind of rewatched it together, and it was like.
Okay, so that was going to be my question, because last night I was at the nail salon, shout out to Mainstream Nails, and I overheard this woman talking about Dahmer, and she's like, I never knew he was a cannibal, and I'm thinking, like, how did anyone know about Jeffrey Dahmer and not know that the whole reason, not the whole reason, like, obviously he was a serial killer, but that cannibalism was really the hot button like issue during the whole like time. And so then I started thinking, maybe it's regional, because we're from Chicago, and that
it was Milwaukee.
It was a huge
or
story.
Madison, right? Madison, Milwaukee, yeah.
Yeah, so I think maybe regionally people understood. Steph, did you know that he was?
No, I'm the
What
same
did you
as
know
Jordan.
about him? I'm
I was the same as Jordan, so I was a little bit younger. So the story, like I heard it in lyrics, like Katy Perry in one of her songs, like says, "I'll eat your heart out like Jeffrey Dahmer."
She says that in one of her songs.
Did you know what she was
like
talking
in
about?
Dark
Oh, I didn't
Horse.
know that.
No, I didn't know really what it meant. So that's how I found out. I was like, what is she talking about? And it's in her song Dark Horse. Yeah, now she's getting loads of backlash for it as well, because people are saying it's inappropriate. But I mean, it's like people can sing and rap out all sorts of things until it, like now, it's like back in the mainstream media, people are like, what is that?
Yeah.
But no, yeah, afterwards I was like horrified, which is why I purposely not watched it. But it is like, so it comes up all the time. Obviously, when you turn your Netflix on, it says like most watched or top 10. I'm dying to watch it, but just like Jeff said, I'll be that person that's awake in the middle of the night and won't be able to sleep, and it'll play on my brain, you know?
Right.
I won't be able to watch it.
I got to tell you, I mean, again, not to glorify this film, it's the most popular or second most popular here. The actor playing Jeffrey Dahmer is fantastic.
Right.
Like, he really brings you in, but I'm telling you, you got to watch it like with.
But like,
you got to know what you're walking
like
into.
True crime, everyone loves it. It's like this, like there's so many podcasts, and they are like off the charts in numbers. It's like people want to know what happened, but then also it's like so far removed, but then it's like scary. It's like this weird.
It's really strange. People like to go back and reinvestigate crimes, and it's now become its own corner of entertainment, almost like sports or movies. It's like true crime has a couple networks, HLN, True Crime Network. People are fascinated by this, and that's why I'm really not that mad at Netflix. They're working in a capitalist system. They're putting on things that people need to watch. Would it be great if they could have given the family a heads up, put a disclaimer saying our hearts and minds are with the family, shot them a check or two? That would be nice, but I mean, unfortunately, they're looking at ones and zeros, and they're not looking at the people on the ground, and it's sad.
All right, we have some sad news before we go. Actress Angela Lansbury has passed away. Her children confirmed she died peacefully in her sleep at her home in Los Angeles on Tuesday. She was 96 years old. Angela starred in her first movie at the age of 18, a film called Gaslight, and went on to receive 3 Oscar nominations. But she said she was often cast as, quote, hags and older women due to her round, full face. Even in her 20s, she also received 5 Tony Awards, including one for Mame, is that right?
That's
Mame
correct.
in 1960s. She's famously starred as widow mystery writer Jessica Fletcher on Murder, She Wrote, of course, which aired on 12 season. And who could forget the memorable role as the voice of Miss Potts in The Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah, I'm going to blow everybody's mind with the fact that Tori told me the movie Gaslight, that's where the term comes from. I guess the movie was about slowly turning down the gaslight, and the character was saying it's getting darker in here, and they were like, it's not. So that's where, like, for all that time, it's still more relevant than ever. The term gaslight comes from Angela Lansbury movie.
I didn't know that.
Interesting?
Wow.
Who knew?
Who knew? All right, we'll be right back.
Tori knew.
Close.
I'm easily tickled, y'all.
Yeah,
It
I
doesn't
love
take much.
it. We're going to sit here and be right.
I know y'all gonna be mad at me, but I'm just telling you the truth.
You can smirk all you want. You don't have to tell me to go.
Brad Pitt, don't tell me.
Hey guys, so we were just talking about the Netflix show Jeffrey Dahmer, which Jeff said he's like watched the whole thing. And I really want to watch it, but I'm so afraid. It's so strange. Like, I love true crime. There's a few podcasts that I love listening to that like they tell you different stories of like different murders or things that happen, and it's like the strangest thing where you're so intrigued and you want to know the story, but then also it does play on your mind. Like you said, you're waking up in the middle of the night. I'm talking to Jeff, by the way, in case you're like, who's she pointing to?
Yeah, I had like, well, that was a steady camera swing, buddy. You don't even have like a tripod over there. Yeah, so I woke up at like 2 in the morning. I was having like Jeffrey Dahmer dreams. I don't even know if I should explain. He's a cannibal, and there's one part where they end the scene with him like cooking. I'll just leave it at that. It's not.
Is it scary? Or?
It's just you can't fathom how this person's mind works.
Right.
And they go back into his childhood and his father.
But
and
is it like gruesome, like you see him killing and things, or not?
no, they don't really show that. It's just like he's very calm in there, but it's almost like how many times he could have got caught if people listened to him. Like he went into like lower class neighborhoods where the police didn't really were around a lot, you know, and then his neighbor called dozens of times with smells and like weird things going on. And one time the police, I mean, I don't know how much you know the story, he had a 14-year-old boy drugged up and whatnot, and she called the police came and gave him back to Jeffrey Dahmer because he said it was a domestic dispute. It's like just very sickening and disturbing.
That clip. Yeah, no, I've heard it's really disturbing. That's the thing, I love things like that because I find it fascinating, more like the psychology of it and what makes people act and do those awful things, but then I'm also way too afraid to watch it. It's crazy.
Welcome back. Two of everyone's favorite pop stars have become the subject of juicy gossip this week. But actually, are the rumors even true? Okay, everyone, big news. Madonna has come out as gay. We think. The Material Girl posted a TikTok of herself throwing pink undies into a trash can with the caption, quote, "If I miss, I'm gay." She then proceeds to miss. Okay. So is this like the Gen Z way of coming out of the closet now? Well, some think it's obvious. She's been out as bisexual for years from moments like this. But actually, the internet is more abuzz with angry folks who say that Madonna could be queer baiting, which means she's hinting at being part of the LGBTQ+ community just to attract fans. Hey, I am all cool with Madonna expressing herself. But let's not use sexual orientation as a viral trend, even if you are Madonna, 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 Madonna. Jennifer Lopez puts her career before her marriage to Ben Affleck? Rumor has it that J-Lo cares more about her job than her hubby after Ben Affleck went home to LA after their honeymoon ended and she stayed in Italy for a fashion shoot. Ben has said he was blown away by her work ethic, but an inside source says he was disappointed she stayed back for work and that their honeymoon phase is already over as they navigate busy schedules. I mean, to be real, I think if any of us were married to J-Lo, we would want to be around her all the time, for many reasons. But I don't think we can claim their marriage is on the rocks after all the woman did was her job as an international superstar. Ain't it funny? If it were a man doing his job, I don't think we'd even be talking about this. That's all for this week. We'll be right back.
Suffer from pain? You're not alone. Omega XL can help. For years, Robin lived with severe pain in her ankles, knees, and back.
I had so much pain in my knees that stooping was not one of the...
For people who've long been pushing for student loan debt relief, it can't come soon enough. So we're going to help you figure out what can you be doing right now to prepare for student loan forgiveness. Let's verify.
Our sources are the Department of Education student loan website, the White House fact sheet on the program, Jennifer Finetti with Scholarship Owl, and Melissa Burns, student loan cancellation advocate. First, make sure you're qualified for forgiveness. That means in 2020 or 2021, earning less than $125,000 a year as an individual or $250,000 for a household with federal loans. That also includes graduate and Parent Plus loans. You can find out the type of loans you have by logging into studentaid.gov. And while you're there, update your profile in case the Department of Education needs to get in touch.
You want to make sure that all of your contact information, including your email address, mailing address, and phone number, is current and up to date.
But if someone calls you offering help applying for forgiveness, Byrne says hang up.
That is a scam. You should report it. You should never, ever pay anybody for help to get your student loans canceled. This is a free service.
The Biden administration has said the application will be simple. The Department of Education notes online applicants won't need to upload any documentation or have an FSA ID. And qualifying borrowers already on an income-based repayment plan, about 8 million people, will be automatically eligible unless they opt out. Once open, the application will be available until the end of next year. But the student loan repayment pause expires at the end of this year. So the Department of Education encourages people to apply for relief by mid-November.
I would generally tell everyone right now just to make sure you turn off all your auto debits so that way there's no chaos when loans turn back on in January.
The Department of Education expects applications will take about 6 weeks to process, which will happen on a rolling basis. Another good idea would be to sign up for
Welcome back to DBL. He can transform any space into where you want to be. Bobby Burke is rebuilding communities devastated by disaster. And earlier, Queer Eye's interior design expert told us about the show's new season. Take a look.
Hi, everybody. It's good to be back.
So good to see you,
Bobby.
Good to see you, Bobby. All right, Bobby, I have a question for you. As a Lowe's hometown ambassador, I love this. You're helping to restore community spaces, and right now, you're restoring the Sid Katz House of the Ronald McDonald Charities in San Antonio. Could you be more of an angel? Tell us about the project and where you're at in the process, and what goes into it as a designer for that.
So we're here in San Antonio right now. There's actually 2 Ronald McDonald houses right next to them. The one I have been in
that I'm in right now was built after the ice disaster of 2021. But in 2021, when Texas had that huge freeze, all the pipes in the Ronald McDonald House burst.
Oh,
it
God.
destroyed the entire property inside. So I have come in with Lowe's, and we are actually redoing all the landscaping across the entire property, making it just this beautiful Zen space where all the families can really reconnect with nature and have those moments to just decompress while they're going through some of the roughest times in their life.
Let's get to season 7. Queer Eye was filmed in my favorite city, New Orleans. Why do you call it the most intense season ever?
Well, normally we film an episode a week. But this season, there were some weeks where we were filming 3 episodes at once. We had a very tight schedule. We had Karamo, who we all know is now the host of the Karamo Show. He had to be back in Connecticut to film at a certain time, so we had to really rush to get through our season, so that way we didn't affect his start time. So that's why it was the most intense, because we filmed more episodes a week than we have ever done at once.
Bobby, if you're not doing enough already, you have a new song with Brazilian pop star Thiago and Rebecca. It's called Dessa Key. I think we're gonna let's take a little listen to it right now.
My muse, my saint. Oh, you got me going insane.
That's you singing?
Yeah.
What's your connection to Brazil?
So Brazil is one of the countries that has my most fans from it. Like, my fan goes from like US, UK, and Brazil is number 3. And because of all my interactions with my amazing Brazilian fans, I just got so obsessed with their culture and their music. And so through that, I became friends with Rebecca and Thiago. And when they asked me to do a song with them, I was like, absolutely. I'm even learning a little Portuguese.
What?
So Brazilian fans are so passionate and just show you so much love that I couldn't help but get involved.
Did you ever think you'd become a singer? Was this one of your goals? Did you always sing?
Actually, as a child, that's always what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
After being a lawyer, I wanted to be a singer.
You and Tori did.
Yeah, that was my goal too.
Nice life.
I know.
You're in New Orleans helping your friend get to his talk show in Connecticut while checking
Helping
on
the
your
Ronald
Brazilian
McDonald.
fan base.
Yeah.
Working for the Ronald McDonald House.
All while he's sneaking a little pinball.
You deserve it.
Man, I want a Brazilian fan base. All right, you have a new home decor collection. What design trends should we all be on the lookout for now? I'm still doing like twinkle lights, so can you talk to us?
You know what, for me, I meant not really about saying about a specific trend that you need to follow, because your home should reflect you. Your home should make you happy. So if there is something in your home that I personally would find ugly, but it makes you happy, girl, keep it.
Okay.
It's all about what makes you happy in your home. Don't listen to only the things I say. I mean, listen to some of them.
Bobby, we appreciate you. We love you. DBL Nation, keep an eye out for season 7 of Queer Eye on Netflix. Also, visit bobbyburke.com to check out more of his new home decor. And as we go to break, let's listen one more time to Bobby's song, shall we?
Bobby and his Brazilian fan base.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thanks,
Bye,
Bobby. Thanks, brother.
Bye.
My muse, my saint. Oh, you got me going insane. When the music hits my brain, oh, it's got me going insane.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Help.
These days, paying by credit or debit card takes just a quick tap or the insertion of a chip. Often the card never leaves your hand, but sometimes you're required to sign for an item, and a cashier might even check to make sure the signature matches with the one on the back of the card. Verify viewer Deborah emailed us to ask if signing the back of the card would make it easier for identity thieves to copy your signature. So let's verify. Is signing the back of your credit card a significant security risk? Our sources are Capital One, credit card processors Visa, MasterCard, and Discover, and Melissa Lamborina with NerdWallet. Years ago, signatures were the only tool to combat card fraud. Merchants would compare the signature on the card with the one on the receipt. But these days, all of our sources say signatures are less relevant because newer technology like card microchips and virtual wallets have made making in-person transactions more secure. MasterCard doesn't even require issuing banks to have a signature panel on the back, although many still put one there and require you to sign to indicate that you've accepted the credit card agreement and that the card is ready for use.
Signing the back of your debit or credit card makes it valid. That might be required by banks or merchants, so it's necessary in order to be able to make a transaction, for example.
As for whether signing the card can increase fraud, Discover points out that your signature is hardly a secret, but it would take a thief a lot of time and effort to forge it. Definitely longer than one would expect to spend in the checkout line. So, no, signing the back of your credit card is not a significant security risk. Some people write CID on their cards to prompt merchants to be extra cautious, but our sources don't recommend this. First, cashiers rarely look at people's cards, so it's unlikely they'd actually see your request. And second, Lamborina says if your bank requires customers to sign the card, then writing CID might mean your card isn't technically valid. Instead, she recommends just signing the back and monitoring statements for any fraudulent activity. With Your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Electric air taxis could help you get to the airport quicker and easier. Let's connect the dots. Delta announcing a huge partnership with an electric air taxi company. The airline joining forces with Joby to use their vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. The service will first launch in New York and LA, with other cities to follow. That means soon, a 50-minute drive could take less than 10 minutes. Think of the vehicles as a cross between a helicopter and a drone. The egg-shaped planes would have fixed wings with battery-powered engines. They'll be able to land like a helicopter. It's all part of a growing list of airlines looking to make short trips to and from airports. American and United also making similar investments. But there are some big concerns. Noise could be a problem. Joby claims their aircraft are barely noticeable. But some folks have concerns about what noise pollution might be like if a plane lands in a neighborhood. So when can you use an air taxi over an Uber? Joby says they hope to have some of their planes in the air by 2024. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Welcome back. Who doesn't want to keep their car running smoothly? But here are some common myths about maintenance. That's today's Auto Alert, sponsored by Ox Car Care. The first myth is that you should always change your oil every 3,000 miles. Instead, refer to your car's manual. I always change 3,000 to 5,000 miles.
Yeah.
Huh, who knew? The next myth is that more expensive oil will improve your car's performance. Again, all cars are different. Use the recommended grade of oil specific to your car. And it's a myth that pressure numbers on your tire is how much air you need. That's actually located on the inside of your driver's door. I never knew that either. And finally, paying extra for nitrogen actually won't extend the life of your tires. Ox Car Care is dedicated to providing you with an amazing auto protection plan experience that works with your budget. If you're looking for better car care, give them a call today at 1-800-690-7547. Yeah. Do you guys know there's an arrow like pointing to which side your gas tank is on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that.
I rented a lot of cars.
We'll see you tomorrow.